Hello everybody, my name is ArashiYT, your coach of the Groningen Noctowls, bringing you the season review for the BBL Season 2, as we, the Groningen Noctowls, unfortunately ended on the last place in regular season with 2 wins and 8 losses. But in this video I will be going over my team, going over the league itself, how the season went for us, and the future of the Groningen Noctowls perhaps in the BBL. So as you can see here on the screen right now, we are going to start out with the obvious here. We ended off on the last place in regular standing, and that is not really a surprise to me because this was the first time I delved myself into the Uber meta. So from the moment that we had our first game, I never had any experience with the Uber meta. So I went with the draft like, okay, I want to draft mons I wanted to use, and in terms of Ubers, I wanted to use mons that, seem fun to use in my honest opinion. And I can already assure you that in terms of draft, I drafted a pretty bad team for myself in terms of my playstyle. And that really bite me off in the end, because later on in the season, after I did some trades, it went a little bit better. I still lost a lot of matches, but in terms of playstyle, I felt a lot more comfortable with the team after I did some changes, and I changed up my playstyle so that I tried to use my playstyle with the mons that I had and try to experiment with that, if that makes any sense. And in the beginning, it was just, me delving into something I haven't had any experience into before. And I learned a lot this season, but for me personally, it's not a big surprise I ended up on the last place. Now, I do have to say we ended up on the last place because of differential, and it is mostly because, as I said before, the team that I drafted wasn't really going with my playstyle, and that resulted in a lot bad losses in terms of differential. So let's just go to the team page of the Groningen Noctowls for this season. Now, I am going to go through my original team first, because the team that we have right now on the screen is the team after I did some trades. So I have on my TV screen on YouTube here the team that I initially drafted. So we had Lugia, we had Tapu Lele, we had Mega Sableye, we had Metagross, we had Druddigon, we had Superior, we had Torkoal, which I am going to talk about in a moment. Don't worry about that. We got Hitmonlee, we got Tentacruel, we got Gligar, and we got Furret. So from the draft that I just told you guys right now, I traded off Tapu Lele, I traded off Druddigon, I traded off Hitmonlee, Tentacruel, Gligar, and Furret, if I'm not mistaken. And I got back Naganadel, Aromatisse, Hariyama, Seismitoad, Elgaventura. So we traded off 6 of our mons for 5 mons in terms with points. And then Naganadel became the C captain instead of Tapu Lele, and Metagross was already one of our C captains. Now, I did update the stats for my team, because when I opened up the document, the stats of my team page wasn't really updated, but fortunately it was just one match I had to input. So the stats that are on the screen right now, so the appearances, the kills, the deaths, those are all updated after the 10 weeks. So what you actually see on the screen is what it is after the actual season. And as you can see, I've used Lugia all of my 10 matches this season, and I've used Torkoal 9 of the 10 matches. And afterwards we got Mega Sableye, and then it kind of crumbled a little bit, and it spreads evenly in terms of how many times I've used the mons. But Lugia, Torkoal, and Mega Sableye were like the 3 mons that I've used the most. Now, with this draft that I did earlier and after the trades, you can still see that this team is still very defensive. Like, I've said it many times before, I'm an offensive coach and I like to play offensively, preferably hyper offensive, but I know that's not always going to happen. But offensive playstyle is the playstyle that suited me the best. I feel more comfortable playing offensive, and a bit on the risky side maybe. And this team doesn't scream offensive. This team doesn't scream, you know, a coach that uses an offensive playstyle. You would not suspect to see this team with that coach. And that's where I made the mistake when I got into my draft. I drafted like Lugia, I drafted like Mega Sableye, I drafted like initially drafted like Gligar, Tentacruel, Druddigon. Like a lot of these mons are used defensively, and I've used an offensive Druddigon, but in general these mons are very defensive and are used very defensive. So without knowing it myself, I drafted a team that was more defensively and not suitable for my playstyle, and that is where I, of course, made a mistake when going into this league. Now, of course, as I said before, I haven't delved into the Ubers meta before going into this league, so I already, you know, was at a bad start from the beginning. But you know, that doesn't change the fact that all of the coaches that were in this league are amazing players. So, you know, I knew we were going to have a hard time in this league, you know, knowing all of the coaches in this league, knowing that I myself am not experienced in this meta, and you know, it's not like the PMC where, if I'm being honest with myself, I was like in the middle in terms of how good the coaches are. And yeah, basically that is the negative side, the criticism I have to give myself for going into this league. I drafted a team that wasn't suitable for my playstyle, and with that you already gonna have a bad time when playing in a league with so many good coaches. And the Ubers meta is such an unique meta where, you know, mons can be used on a different way, but you still have to consider that a lot of stuff are, you know, you don't see that in the regular draft league meta. So I was heavily surprised with a few things when I played in this league. So that is all I have to say about, you know, my draft, about how I went into this league, and I could have done maybe a bit better if I at least tried to delve myself into the Ubers meta. Now, looking at the overall season, as I mentioned before in the beginning of this video, we won 2 times, and that was against Aaron2420, which, like, I don't know why, but every time I battle against Aaron, like, there's always some stuff happening that you don't see that very often in like competitive draft league, in the competitive draft league format. And that was that I went into this match. I knew it was going to be a hard match because Aaron drafted a pretty good team even before he did his trades. Like, he had a Xerneas, he had a Wigglytuff that worked really well against my team. He had an Aegislash. He had like I think he had a Tornadus, if I'm not mistaken. He had a lot of good mounts that were scary threats. And my Torkoal basically 6-0'd him. And like, well, not like 6-0 like a 6-0 win. We won that match with 2-0, I believe. But Torkoal basically was a mon that he didn't have a good answer to besides the Wigglytuff. But once I've whittled down the Wigglytuff, the Torkoal just went ham on his team. And that was the beginning of the Torkoal run in the BBL Season 2 for the Groningen Noctowls, because as you can see on the screen right now, Torkoal played 9 of the 10 matches. So Torkoal didn't play the first match, which was against the I can look up here, the San Diego State A-Cells, which was, if I'm not mistaken, the champions from last season. So, and we lost that match with 3-0. So I haven't brought Torkoal in that match. Then I brought it against Aaron, because I thought with the Aegislash and with all the other mons, I thought Torkoal with the drought could potentially do some stuff against him. But I didn't expect Torkoal to, you know, take the win for us against Aaron. And from that moment, I was like, using Torkoal is pretty fun. And I was like, maybe I should use Torkoal a little bit more and maybe try to be aggressive with that Mon. And, you know, not use like a hyper-offensive Torkoal, but use a, you know, mixed Torkoal or a defensive Torkoal, but it can still hit hard. And try to play a little bit aggressive with it in this season and see what I can actually do with it. And I don't remember on the top of my head, but I think I said in the beginning in the draft that, you know, I wasn't sure if Torkoal would fit me. I wasn't sure if Torkoal would be a huge powerhouse, but I drafted it because I needed a fire type in my team, and I was like, I saw Torkoal, I saw the drought, I saw, you know what, let's draft it and let's see what it can do, and maybe it can surprise us. And it actually did surprise me a lot in this season, because Torkoal got 13 kills in this league. 13 kills in a Uber league. I don't know why, but using Torkoal this season, you know, it made me feel something that I haven't felt in a while. And that was something I felt also in the FBL Season 1 and Season 2, that this is what draft leagues makes fun for me. This is why I love doing draft leagues. This is why I enjoy doing them, because you can use a Mon and you can have zero expectations for it, and you can go into a season and you can use the Mon and it can suddenly surprise you so much that it eventually becomes one of your favorite Pokemon. And not only that, I think I can now say that Torkoal has become somewhat of an thing that if somebody says Arashi, if somebody says ArashiYT, the immediately thing you think of is Torkoal now. That's why I put Torkoal on the banner of my new channel art, because Torkoal is the, how can I say that? It's the example of why I enjoy doing draft leagues. And I enjoyed using Torkoal. Torkoal did amazingly for a 7-point Pokemon, for a Pokemon that only cost 7 points in this meta. It did so much for me this season, and like I had a feeling nobody really had an answer for my Torkoal this season, because they didn't expect much from it, and they didn't think I would have played so aggressively with it. And again, that just shows that Torkoal is the example of why I like doing draft leagues, because if used right, a Pokemon can suddenly go from 0 to 100, and Torkoal did that for me this season. So Torkoal is definitely the MVP for the Groningen Noctowls in the BBL, and with Hit being on the top 5 kill leader ranking, Torkoal just was, you know, I'm using it in the MPL, and I'm probably going to use it a lot more in the draft league meta in the upcoming years. And I want to use it in the Generation 8 meta. And yeah, Torkoal has now a special place in my heart. And that is all thanks to the BBL Season 2. So, you know, even though we're on the last place in this season, I still think that we did something that no other coach could have done in this league. And that is using Torkoal and just wreak havoc with it in this season. Now, looking at the other mons, Lugia, I enjoyed using Lugia, but I need to, you know, if I delve myself further into the Ubers meta, because I wanted to draft Lugia. I wanted to draft Lugia the moment Aaron invited me to this league. I immediately knew, like, alright, this is my chance to, you know, use Lugia. Lugia is one of my favorite legendaries, and I saw the opportunity, and I think I could have done better. Looking at it, I could have done better. I've used it pretty well in some of my matches, but I don't think I did Lugia that much justice in the BBL Season 2. So maybe next time, if we got the opportunity, I can actually you know, make that happen. Now Naganadel together with Tapu Lele, I've drafted Tapu Lele first, and I knew Tapu Lele wasn't really working out for me, so I did all of my tradings and I brought Naganadel back in the team. And Naganadel, I also not used that very well. And I don't blame Naganadel and I don't blame Tapu Lele for that. I blame my own ability as a coach for that, because I just failed using them. Mega Sableye, not well. Also not well. Could have used better. Metagross, I think I've used Metagross pretty well in the matches that I've used it. Metagross is a mon I have, you know, experience with using it. So Metagross did the stuff that it did. Aromatisse, haven't used it that much, so cannot really, you know, say that much about it. But I'm not the biggest fan of Aromatisse. And that is all. Superior. I've used Superior in the matches against, let me see, I can't remember at the top of my head, but in the matches that I've used Superior, it did pretty well, but I think I could have used it more than I've did in this season. We already spoke about Torkoal. Hariyama, same with Aromatisse, I haven't used it that much. I do think that Hariyama is a mon that can be suited for my playstyle, but I haven't used it that much. Seismitoad, probably the best trade that I've made from all of the trades that I've made, because Seismitoad is just an amazing mon to use, amazing typing, and it had 5 appearances, and I think after week 5 we did the trade, so Seismitoad like made all of like, I think after week 4 or week 5 I did all my trades, and then I've used Seismitoad a lot with the trades. It got 4 kills, it also died 4 times, but Seismitoad actually worked very well with the trades in the draft that I already had. So Seismitoad I did very good with. Galvantula, used it only 1 time, and after that I haven't used it that much, so I can't really say that much about that. So, you know, and I've used Rodigon I think 1 time in week 1. Hitmonlee, I think I've used it 1 time as well. I think Tentacruel I used it 1 time as well, like Gligar, Furret, you know. I thought I would have used those mons better, or I would have used them at all, but looking at my draft, I knew my draft was too defensive, and I knew I had to do some trades, and like, it's all learning moment for me. So, if we go now with all the matches that I've done, my favorite match, of course, had to be against Aaron 2-for-20, because that match was very, very awesome. That match was a roller coaster, and it could have gone either way. Aaron could have won against me. Aaron could have won against me easily, but Torkoal, he didn't have an answer to Torkoal at that point, so that is that. And a match that I'm not very happy with, looking back at it, I think we could have won against the Bracknell Beaters as well, and that match was played on Showdown. I could have won that. I think, yeah, the matches against the Arkansas Racer... I think, yeah, the match against the Arkansas Racer wins was probably the match I'm not happy with, because that was the match where I've used a new team, so the draft has happened after that, and I just could not, you know, I think if you watch that match, you could see that I did not, you know, was comfortable using that team, and it basically, you know, gave the good example of that I drafted a team, and even with the trades, the team was still not, you know, suitable for my playstyle, so it showed that I need to draft better in terms of my playstyle, and sometimes you have to draft mons, even though if you want to use mons you haven't used before, if it doesn't fit your playstyle, you know, maybe it's better not to draft them at all, if that makes any sense. But I had a good fun this season. I've played all of my matches. All of my matches, even though I've lost 8 of my matches, I still had fun in each of those matches, because all of the coaches were, you know, top guys, top persons, and I had a blast in this season. And I said against Aaron, I wouldn't mind coming back in Season 3 if that happens before Generation 8 drops. So if it's up to me and if it's up to Aaron and the rest, I'm happy to join Season 3 again, and then maybe we can take some revenge from last season. And maybe I will draft a team that suits my playstyle more. But I'm always up for suggestions, like if you have an idea which one I should use in Draft League format, let me know in the comment section below, or hit me up on Twitter, because I'm always up for, you know, ideas. I don't have a front office, I'm doing this all by myself, but I'm always up for suggestion and feedback, so let me know. But yeah, that basically sums up everything I have to say about the BBL Season 2. We're now currently in the MPL Season 7, and I will try to upload those matches on time and everything as well. So after that, we'll see which leagues will come in our path and what I can do. I'm trying to bring out showdown videos for you guys so I can keep on with competitive Pokemon content, and maybe I will even bring some different content for you guys. But let me know what you guys thought about the Groningen Noctowls in the BBL, if you're hyped for me being a part of Season 3 when that happens, and just let me know what you guys think. If you do, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, share this video with others, slash the subscribe button down below, and hit the bell icon, because then you get notified every time I upload a new video, and that is sincerely appreciated. But with that, we're going to end this video off here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.